This club's about winning trophies. I'm inexperienced in a lot of those things.
3-0.
Sorry for smiling there.
Almost lost the cup and you win it. The new European champions, the treble, the dream come true for you.
Oh, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Football, bloody hell. But they never give in. And that's the winner.
Welcome to the American Red Devils podcast. I'm John.
I'm Alex.
And we're bringing you the best Manchester United news from this side of the pond.
Woo, sir. How we doing? It is the summer. Season ain't back yet. A lot going on. Euros are in the knockout stage. We're watching Denmark play the host Germany right now. Watching for Eriksson to hopefully shine. Italy just crashed out. U.S. men's national team making a meal of it. United, no signings yet. A lot of monitoring, a lot of interest. But here we are in the summer, enjoying ourselves. Sir, how we doing? A lot of football on. The tour started today. It's like we're feasting. We're feasting at the moment. Good times. Hope everyone's enjoying their summer. How we doing, sir?
Doing absolutely great. International football making me forget about last season because the pains were brutal. That football. Everyone behind the scenes at United. New coaching moves. Ruud van Nistelrooy. Why not get him back? We need to score some goals, sir. Give him a jersey. Put him on the field. We could use a little bit of that Ruud magic. We're getting Dutch. Getting more Dutcher. Just more Dutch. Just more Dutch signings.
Double
more
down.
Dutch managers. I don't know about that. Dutch and Manchester United in the past has not gone well since Ruud van Nistelrooy. So I'm hoping it can add some new blood to the locker room. Rooney did mention on a podcast that Steve McLaren, he didn't think he had any say. So I don't know if changing the assistants is really going to help that much. But I'm not trying to think about United and the disaster that is coming this next season without making the signings, just kind of changing some assistant coaches. It's not enough. We need new blood. We need to be making moves. And like I said, before the summer started, international tournaments kill transfer markets. And then everything is sort of in a rush on the back end. United haven't sold anybody. We're linked to Xerxes. That doesn't excite me. We need some midfield options. We need center backs. So De Ligt came out today. That's a little exciting, but the wages get me a little concerned. That could be United business of old. So I'm a little cagey when it comes to United, but just trying to enjoy the international football. Swiss cheese is on the menu today. They cooked the Italians. I can't believe the Swiss are through. This Euros is going to be entertaining, and nobody knows who's going to win it because I don't think anyone's really playing in high gear.
Some teams started out hot. Some teams are still warming up. We got to go negative on United. So we got a whole year. We got 10 months of that shit coming down the pipe. Don't worry. Don't force it. The summer's always going to be a tough one. And we knew why, because there's a shit ton of wood to chop. We got a lot of players to sell. We have a lot of holes to fill. And we don't have the full team in, right? Our CEO hasn't even started. I think he starts in 2 weeks. He hasn't even started yet. DOF hasn't been signed yet. And I think we should kind of set our expectations very low for this summer. I think based on the players we're going after and the moves that, haven't happened yet. Like you said, we haven't signed anybody. We haven't sold anybody. We know the kind of profile they're going after. It's going to be a cheap and good summer. We're not going $80 million, $100 million signings. We're not going to sign Brainworth, even though he's the profile player. He's a great center back. Premier League proven, young, fast, strong, but we can't be spending $70, $80 million on a center back, even if he's a good investment at 22. You're going to have to go for a De Ligt out of favor in Bayern, who's a class player. But like you said, I'm a little concerned about Dutch on Dutch, right? All the staff that's coming in to the front office is Dutch. You can go. No, one of the best Dutch center backs one of the best center backs we ever had. Jaap Stam, he was a hell of a player. That was one of the few players that Fergie was I was wrong to sell him. But De Ligt, like you said, he's got some injuries, the money, and then the Xerxes. I do like the midfielder that we're linked to from PSG because he's a proper dog. But you're right. We've got a lot of work to do, and I think people should expect to be underwhelmed. So let's focus on overwhelming football, which is the Euros, which has been such a joy. It's been so much fun to watch the Euros. I wish I was there. Just great football. And they've done a great job with it. What a tournament.
No, and I'm not trying to get negative on United, but you're that meme with the stick. Come on, let's do something. We have easy things we need to do. We got to sell Greenwood. We got to sell Sancho. We got to get wages off the books. We got to open things up for FFP. We got to make some moves. FA Cup, we're in the Europa League. That was a huge win.
Huge.
Now we kind of got to use that and get some of these bodies in, make some moves. I'm talking about hitting singles. United have to be good at hitting singles. We're trying to hit home runs all the time, and I just haven't seen that movement. It makes sense there is none. We don't have our DOF in. Wilcox is in there probably just like over his skis. Ashworth is on gardening leave. Sir Jim's trying to get the place cleaned up a little bit, and there's almost too much to do. So this summer, I think, is just going to be a lot of nothing burgers until the end, and it's going to be a scramble. But what I want to see from Ratcliffe & Co. is no panic buys, no panic sells. I want to see good, smart business. If Everton wants too much for Brainwaith, or however you say his name.
If we buy him, I'll learn his name. There's too many players.
If they want too much for him, we say no. And we try to sign the next guy. Good and cheap. We just got to get bodies in. This team has players in it. We saw us beat City in the FA Cup. There was a reason for that. I'm excited about this talent. It's the football, the structure, the system that's got to improve. And oh, by the way, we need some young blood that doesn't get injured, that can back us up at left back, that can back us up at center back. You have to learn the mistakes of last year, correct them, and move forward. But, sir, quick PSA for the podcast. If you like the American Red Devils and you are for fans, by fans, support us on Patreon. If you don't know about Patreon, it is the number one way that our top tier Muppets support the podcast. Go there, sign up, patreon.com/American Red Devils. You get an extra episode every single month, tons of other benefits. Please check it out. It is the best way to support the pod. If Patreon isn't your thing, check out our store, americadevils.store. We got some hats on the way. They're not in the store yet, but we got some trucker hats, super slick, ARD logo. We got new merch on the way, new scarf, Garnacho scarf for 2024-25 season. So a lot of exciting things going on in our store, and everything you buy supports the podcast. Please check it out. Also, like, subscribe, wherever you listen on the socials. It goes a long way. It's just me and Alex here in the bunker. Sir, tell them about iTunes reviews and other ways they can support the podcast.
Yeah, John mentioned, hey, just him and I, doing our thing, keeping this pod moving. So the support from you all goes a long way. Join Patreon, buy the merch, because, hey, we could really use an AC in this pod room. I don't know if you heard, there's a heat wave coming. It's coming all over the U.S. It's been here for a while, and it's starting to get hot here in California. But either way, another great way to support the pod is writing 5-star reviews. And if you write a 5-star review, send a screenshot of that review to AmericanRedDevils@gmail.com with your mailing address. I will personally pick, pack, and ship some free ARD gear. Send it right to your door anywhere in the world. And the reviews have been coming in hot and heavy. We appreciate everyone who's been writing those reviews. Sir, it's a great day to be a Manchester United fan. It's always a great day to be a Manchester United fan. 10 out of 10. How are we feeling, sir? What's going on in the world?
All right, let's get into it. We're going to do our little Euro recap, talk about Copa America, then we're going to drive straight into the transfer Muppetry. As far as the Euros go, as a United fan, you're watching England, you're watching Portugal, and then maybe some transfer targets, right? And obviously, you got to be shouting out, wow, Weghorst for the Netherlands coming on, because, as a proper Muppet, every proper Muppet knows I can beat him in a 100-yard dash. The upset this morning, Italy fell to Switzerland 2-0. That is kind of a shock. Germany, Denmark right now live 0-0. Obviously, you're watching Højlund for Denmark, hoping that he comes good. He has yet to score in the tournament. I think he's been a little underwhelming. You and me have been debating that. I'm a little concerned about him going into next season. We need some help. That's why the Xerxes signing. But is he the guy to really, you would like a veteran to sort of help Højlund and the like, but is Ruud van Nistelrooy the guy to do it instead of an older striker like Giroud or somebody like this? Is that what they're thinking?
I mean, these are all very good points. I believe in Højlund. I think he'll come good. I think he showed a lot of promise last season, and still young and has kind of that raw potential. The Xerxes, I haven't seen very much of him. The tape is not the type of profile I'm looking for. I think speed is so appreciated and important in the EPL, and I think that's why I have more faith in Højlund, because he does have some pace. Xerxes looks pretty slow, so I think they're going young. I think they're thinking like, hey, man, we're thinking resale value. We're thinking like durability. How long is this player going to be around? How many seasons are we going to have? Because everyone they've been looking at, even DeLitt, everybody's like younger than 20, like 24, 23. They're all young. So, I mean, that's good. And like you said, it's like, hey, seasoned vet, it'd be great to have a Giroud come or an equivalent Giroud who could score goals and give you 15 goals across all competitions just to take the pressure off these young lads while mentoring them. But we will get the mentoring because one of the greatest strikers in the history of the Premier League is now our new assistant manager, about to be our assistant manager. So for Højlund, if Xerxes is signed, for any of the young strikers maybe coming through the academy, like there are a few better players to turn into coaches to learn from than Ruud. And Ruud did well, actually. He did well in the Dutch league, right? I think he won the cup. So that will be good. But like you said, a lot of Dutch. We're doing a heavy Dutch. That's the only thing that concerns me. Is like you get a lot of Dutch guys around in the same room. They all think they're right. I don't know. We'll see. But hey, all the guys who are in the front office, they're all English. I guess Omar, he's not. But like otherwise, they're all English. So we'll see, man. We'll see.
This is the first Euros in a long time, or first major tournament in a long time, that as a United fan, it's kind of underwhelming to watch our current players, right? You have Højlund leading the line for Denmark. He has one shot today so far, 36 minutes in, no goals at the tournament. Rashford didn't get selected. Kobe Mainoo is like our real shot to like break into the England squad with Gareth Southgate. Luke Shaw's injured on the bench. Maguire got snubbed.
Just Bruno. I mean, Bruno's the only one who's been killed. Eriksen's looked good, but
he's on the way. Like Eriksen should not be on the way out the door. But as far as, again, getting back to last season and the trauma associated with that, I don't think Ten Hag rated Eriksen. So it was like at the end, it kind of felt like Ten Hag and Eriksen were kind of parting ways, and he was headed out the door. So that's why I'm not as jazzed about Eriksen. I'm concerned about Højlund. Mainoo's just kind of like living on a prayer to get that start. And Bruno, that's really it. And it's like, that's kind of table scraps for Manchester United in international tournaments. You're not used to that. That's why I'm backing Portugal to win it all. I think that'd be a great story. CR7, can't stop supporting him. That's our big Ronaldo Muppet here on the podcast. But who's your pick to win it all?
I mean, I had said in the hot takes, Spain. I think form is really important in these international tournaments, and they came out of the gates hot. They've looked good. They've got a young team. But like you said, I have a lot of teams I'm rooting for. Like I'm rooting for the Portuguese because I really like Bruno Fernandes. He's one of my favorite players, if not my favorite, and I want him to succeed. I want him to have success while he's the captain of Manchester United because, like you said, Eriksen, great player. He was super important the year before last, but last year he didn't feature as much. So like Bruno is our captain, the first name on the sheet, right, in terms of the squad picking. He's like the player they're getting into a lot of squads around the world. But Eriksen's a tough one. But you want everyone to do well. I think it's more of an indictment of where the squad's at the moment. It's like we don't have all these players featuring for their international team and kind of shining, which you would see in previous tournaments, at least featuring like Pogba's and, we've got, I guess, even Rashi didn't make the squad, bro. So like it's, we're in transition. We have a lot of work to do.
It feels like a lot of these teams in the Euros are in transition. And obviously talking about the big matchups here in the round of 16, England, Slovakia, Southgate, like I said, start Kobe Mainoo. They have the easiest run to the finals. You look at who else is involved. It's Switzerland took out Italy. That's the real big. England would, if they beat Slovakia, would play Switzerland in the quarters, which has to be.
And then probably the Dutch in the semis, but the Dutch are beatable.
Totally. And so England has this path to the finals. You'd like to see Kobe get the start and kind of earn his keep alongside Declan Rice. And kind of to earn your starting spot for England at that age would only benefit Manchester United. That's what I'm really cheering for. And then you want to see Portugal. You want to see Bruno scoring goals. He had a tough season from a goal scoring perspective. So if he's on the mark for Portugal, you cheer for that. And England-Portugal final, that would be a riot as well. But Portugal could come up against France in the next match. So tons to break down here. We're going to keep you posted. Every single week, we'll be doing a little quick Euro recap, talk about who's been starting for United, and obviously doing the transfer Muppetry. But one thing we have to talk about as well is the Copa America.
Oof.
The U.S. men's national team.
Can we just talk about the actual quality of the tournament versus the Euros?
Yes.
It's like, that is like, I'm thinking it's not like even Champions League to Europa League. I mean, that is brutal. It is like, because we were watching the Euros, we were in country watching the games, like beer gardens or the hotel or somewhere in between, all the games in real time. And the quality of the actual play of the squads, of the pitches, of the stadiums, and of the officiating, not to mention the fucking, the people actually calling the games. It's been hard to watch the Copa America, to be fair. It's like, it's in America, and they put it in all these giant American football stadiums, and they're all half empty because the tickets are so fucking expensive. I think we should be putting more shine. We have these interesting, smaller, kind of like pure play football stadiums. So I think that's a missed opportunity. And I hope they learn from this in advance of the World Cup, which is a great opportunity for us to like our coming out party on the global stage, where I think there's never been more excitement around the U.S. team, but also just football in general in America. Everyone's got a squad. People are paying attention more. There's the Wrexham stuff and the Ted Lasso and all that, and that helped. I think that was a catalyst. So, like, our tournament, I think we want to be as proud as the Brazilians were with their great tournament, as the Germans have with the Euros, and I think like it's a big opportunity for us, and I hope we learn from this Copa. And I'm not even talking about Burheffer and all the fucking things he's been doing, but hey, that's a whole other story.
Great points. We are hosting in the World Cup in 2026. I think any tournament like you host the Copa, it's not an accident. Like, you're gearing up for the World Cup in 26, so all the kinks are going to be worked out. If you think you're going to get a deal on tickets for the World Cup in 2026,
it's
hate
insane.
to break it to you.
This is the Copa though.
No, but they're setting the tone with the Copa. I mean, that's just something that's really unfortunate, and something that in the U.S. it's like ticket goes to the highest bidder. Obviously, for Manchester United fans, it's totally different. They actually subsidize the price of the tickets to let the locals go, or the people who've had season tickets the longest. So we do things a little different here. It hasn't been so bad. The stadium quality is super high. The issue is the turf and how they're going to get that sorted. But like, some of the stadiums are just amazing, and you wish they'd be full, right? You wish there'd be more USA fans. But let's get into the USA in Group C. 2 matches played as it stands. United States on 3 points. Uruguay leading the list with 6. Panama with 3. Obviously, the United States lost to Panama. Tim Way with the red card. Absolutely brutal. It is going to be difficult because the United States plays Uruguay in the final game of the group stage. If we win and Panama beats Bolivia, which they should, Bolivia has a -7 goal differential and 0 points, right? We can't bet on Bolivia to do us favors. It's going to come down to goal difference, and we need to beat Uruguay. That's what it comes down to. Now, are we better? Can we do it? Absolutely. Is our coach horrible? Yes. Is it kind of like the American Southgate? Absolutely. So if you're watching this one, I think the United States, it's going to be difficult to beat Uruguay. If Panama beats Bolivia, that's it for the United States. And then, you go to what happens to the head coach. Head's got to roll at that point. But, sir, you know how I can kind of get a little pessimistic. How are you feeling?
I mean, the glass half full take, which I don't even think they're going to do, is that if they don't make it out of this group, which, holy shit, it's a pretty easy group. One of the countries had like an active coup in the last 7 days. So like, you should be beating countries that are doing coups. That's usually like, they did beat Bolivia, but like, even that wasn't very convincing. I hope that if we don't get out, I think we need a higher caliber. I know we need a higher caliber coach than Hefeweiser. We need higher caliber people running the front office, just like United had very poor people and have now brought in some serious people. But there's no excuse, man. Like, Panama definitely the luck went against us. The problem is you're also playing against these refs, and it's like another thing is the refs are fucking terrible in Copa America. They're terrible. So,
do you like any refs? I mean, like,
the refs in the Euros have been terrific. They have been terrific. I have complained only about the France-Netherlands game where it was England refs.
Your lips are moving and you're complaining about something.
Really?
That's whinging.
The guy talking about how bad we were last season, I thought that ship sailed.
Your lips are moving and you're complaining about something. That's whinging.
You like any refs?
Yes, I like the Euro reps who are not from England. All the French reps, the German reps, they've all been very good. The Italian refs even. That's an example. Euros, good refs. Copa, bad refs. England,
all right.
Shit refs.
Does USA get out of the group for Copa?
No. Because we could win and still not make it out of the group.
I'm going with the glass half full. USA makes it out of the group, sir. Let's get into some news for Manchester United. What a summer tons of sports on, international tournament. You love to enjoy these, soak up these matches. See the U.S. bottle the Copa is just...
That's about right. At home, like home nation, easy group, bro. Like Panama. Playing Panama gives me night sweats.
At least we're not England. You know, like for all the English fans listening, it's like to go from watching Manchester United to then watching this England squad underperform. It's like that has to be the biggest curse, because you're watching like even better team play worse. It's unbelievable. It's
but there's a common thread
this
there.
Tournament they should win. They should win this tournament. Everything is opened up for them. Like all the tough teams are on the other side of the bracket, and then it's just gonna be theater at this point. Everyone roasting Southgate. I hope. It'd be crazy if they'd win, but this is just going to be a crazy summer and just more drama and, shitfootball.com.
The only way they win is if he starts Kobe Manu tomorrow and Manu has a blinder and he's the secret sauce to unlocking Bellingham and Rice. You put Palmer, who looked like they both looked so good when they came on in the second half of that third group stage game. That's the only way. Like they get hot and then they stop fucking with the team and they go on a run. Because he's not good enough to be the coach of England, just like Hef is not good enough to be the coach of the United States. And they have a much better squad than the U.S. does, but both teams have they don't have appropriate managers for the quality of the team.
All right, so let's get into some news. United in the news. All right, managerial shakeups at Manchester United. Give us the latest.
A lot going on in terms of the manager. On the first note, the contract is nearing completion. Apparently, Erik ten Hag will sign his new contract extension in the coming days to the next week. There is a little bit of a change apparently around some of his responsibilities. It'll be just focused on the squad. He'll have less input into recruitment. I think he will have a vote, but he will not be the kind of the point person as he had been. At the same time, the big news is that huge shakeup in his basically his staff. I think all of his assistant managers are going. It has not been confirmed yet, but obviously we've been hearing a lot about Ruud van Nistelrooy, Rene Hake, who is a mid-table manager from like Go Fly Eagles. They have a hilarious names, sir, if you go down. But they've worked together before at FA20.
Go Ahead Eagles.
Which is just an incredible football name, by the way. Go Ahead Eagles. So he's coming in, and that's the shakeup. So like McLaren apparently might be going. The Dutch assistant manager, whose name I always forget, the bald guy who you rip on, Mitchell van der Gog, he's also apparently going. And a big shakeup. So like this, I see positives and negatives of this. The new contract is good. The redefined role is important and good. I do think there's something to be said, like we should change things up. We didn't change the manager. Let's change his crew up. But like the only concern of mine is that like we're going all Dutch. And I don't know, man. We'll see how it's either going to work out well or it's not going to work out well. And we're going to find out within the first 2 months of the season. So I don't know. What do you think?
This is... I just don't think you can expect much to change. Look, Rooney gave the interview on the Stick to Football podcast with Gary Neville, and he said Steve McLaren coached Wayne Rooney, and Wayne Rooney said there is nothing about Steve McLaren in the football that he's watching in the team. So if Erik ten Hag was hands off and letting McLaren coach the team, you wouldn't have seen shitfootball.com. But when it comes to what Ten Hag was doing, he was probably like not letting McLaren have any say. He's probably very stubborn and wants to do it his way. That's totally fair. You're the boss. I get it. So that's why I don't buy into the fact that these assistant coaches are going to make a difference. Will Ruud van Nistelrooy help Højlund play in the EPL? Yes. Will this other guy, Hake, help us play like total football like Ajax should? If Erik ten Hag wants to, we will. So I'm more worried about the manager changing his mindset and outlook for this season than I am about anything.
By the way, we're watching the Euros live. The game has been suspended because there's golf ball size hail coming down in Berlin. So that looks like a proper good time. I'm sure they're getting after it. The beer is still flowing. I agree. I think every time there's been some kind of we're bringing in this assistant manager, we're bringing in this new
set
physio, we're bringing this new set piece guy. Nothing fucking changes. A lot of the stuff gets worse. And the only thing that I can I hopeful about is that he's bringing in guys with even more pedigree that are going to push back at him, because one of the major concerns, especially last season, was like I think sometimes he would just get so in his way, so stubborn, not change anything, and maybe that's because he's a stubborn guy. Maybe it's because he didn't listen to his assistants. I'm hoping these assistants can like get through to him and be like, yo, we got to change shit up. When you change shit up, you do better. We changed shit up in advance of the FA Cup. That's why you won the FA Cup. And he did that his first season. He did not do that almost at all in the second season. I think that's a big reason why we suffered. So my hope is that these guys can come in and be like, yo, dude, like I used to be a coach. We used to coach together. Rude's like, I used to be the fucking king of this league. Listen to me. So maybe that could be a positive. That's my hope.
I like Ruud van Nistelrooy. Photo
Killer.
of him in the pod bunker. Shout out. And we could use a little of that magic. So, can this help us? Yes. Is it as big of a deal as people are making out to be? Absolutely not. Because what we need from Ten Hag is for him to learn from his mistakes and find out how to play a different style of football with the resources he has. Because we're not going to see a lot of changes. We have FFP issues. The transfer. This has been a horrid transfer summer, and like nobody cares. It's like everyone's watching international football.
I know.
And, like,
They haven't noticed yet.
It's crazy. Usually fans are like, "What's going on?" or losing their minds. But international football helps
It does.
cover up the cracks that are showing at Manchester United. Also, when it comes to McLaren and Van der Gaag, they have uncertain futures at United, so they could be headed out while Rene is coming in. Mid-table, and obviously this is a great headline. Eric Ten Hag set to hire a mid-table Dutch clubs
they
manager.
love it. They love
just
fucking going in.
the English killing them.
They kill them.
The next big article to discuss as far as news, if you heard here at the America Doubles podcast, we said they'd be selling the naming rights to Old Trafford. I always said Maui Jim Stadium at Old Trafford or something like that. This was coming. The club has way too much debt. They need to do everything they can to make money, raise cash, to get rid of the debt, to basically fund the new stadium purchase as well. So this was always going to come. We've talked about it for years here at the America Red Devils, and we're starting to see a £25 million naming rights deal being floated. That is cheap, in my opinion.
I'm about to say, that feels very light.
Especially considering we're going to redo the stadium. So if we're going to get a new stadium, I think the naming rights price should be higher. But this just goes to squeezing every blood out of that stone. That is the objective at Manchester United. And as long as the name is not as ridiculous as like, ballshaver.com at Old Trafford, if we can get Maui Jim or something reasonable that isn't too bad, I'm fine with this, sir. How do you feel about the naming rights or Old Trafford being called something else? Because all it does is put this ad on the stadium and then everyone calls it Old Trafford. It doesn't change anything. But I feel in the UK, this could offend some people.
Yeah, I think this would have had a lot more blowback, and it hasn't happened yet, so the blowback hasn't happened. But like even this news that they're like going into this hunt would have a lot more blowback. Like when we started watching the game, like 04, 05, I think people were like more nostalgic, even more turned off to the idea of like changing the name. But now like Camp Nou did it, like the Allianz, of course, where everyone just calls that. And at the end of the day, if it's like, I don't know, whatever, Apple, it's not gonna be Apple, but you know what I mean? It'd be some like insurance company or some bank it'd be some bank. If it's like Bank of America, Old Trafford, which it probably won't be either, everyone will just continue to call it Old Trafford, and then somebody will pay us £40 million to basically put their logo on the side of the old Old Trafford, or when we tear it down and build a new Old Trafford. So like a part of me is like, the nostalgia, but like we need money and we're fucking broke. So they'll pay us a shit ton of money. We have the most famous stadium in the cut, arguably like head to head with Wembley. So this is coming. This is inevitable. This makes sense. We're an economic animal. We need money. And this is a great way to get money.
Well, what's really funny is I feel like the UK has certain culture that frowns on things. Like you can't put a name on a stadium in the UK, but you put the sponsor on the front of the jersey. And the United States, like no team has a sponsor on the front of the jersey. It's like the logo of whatever club it is. Like a hockey team, it'd just be like, their logo. And then they might have a patch sponsor on the upper right, but it's smaller, right? So I feel like it's so funny. Like what the UK is willing to sell out on versus what the US is willing to sell out on. And I feel like we're meeting in the middle a little bit with this one. But this doesn't bother me at all. United needs to make more money. We make more money. We can buy better players. We have a more sustainable future. This was always coming.
Players, let's talk about it, sir. We got anyone good?
Transfer Muppetry, jump into it. You've been tracking all the tweets, all the nonsense online, sir. You're our expert at transfers.
Well, there's one thing. Maybe one of the reasons why you're definitely right. It's like there's definitely been less like frustration by the lack of movement in the transfer market because the football's been a great distraction. But I think there's been a lot of smoke, which does often satisfy or satiate United fans, at least initially in that transfer market. So center back, we're going for a center back. The news early was Brainwith, obviously the young center back at Everton, who's a stud, and honestly, like the kind of profile. He's the player like the City. City buy like $70 to $100 million defender every year. He seems like he would be like perfectly set for that. He's going to be too expensive, right? We started with a 35 million euro or pound bid. They want 70. I don't think we're going to go up that high. So we're on to next targets. Next target that we're hearing quite a bit of in the center back position is De Ligt, the Dutch center back who actually we were attached to a couple of years ago. He's 20.
Where is he from?
Netherlands.
Who could have seen that?
Netherlands.
Wait. What about the striker we're linked to?
Netherlands. These are Ineos picks now, bro.
No, I'm just saying. It's like
It concerns me. I mean, this is like, so he's a high-profile player. He's not rated by the manager. He is a little injury prone, but he's a good scorer. He's got a great passer. I'm a little worried about him in the league, given how fast and physical it is. But if we can get him for a bargain, I've seen this movie before. I think we're gonna have to give him too much wages, right? There's no way you're gonna be able to get him for like less than $300,000 a week. So I have concerns here. Because of that, because of the cost and the injuries and the Dutchness. But he's better than Xerxes. Like, this is a guy who played Champions League semifinal, plays for Bayern, not Bologna. So different profile players.
No, I mean, this is one of those. If you don't get fleeced, it will be a good deal.
You don't get fleeced, right?
I mean,
you can get it for like 30 for a 24-year-old, and you don't give him like a crazy contract, like Jadon Sancho contract. Then even if he misses 10 games a year in the league, it can work out. It's just like, how bad's the injuries and how much is it going to cost you?
No, and he's flexible, right? He can play in a bunch of different areas at the back, left, right. He can play in the 3 as well. His current contract expires June 2027. So obviously we're going to have to pay like a decent fee. And then on the injury front, he was only injured 9 games this season. So he's actually been decently durable. Comes from Juve. We were linked to him then, back when Riola was his agent.
Right.
Way back in the day. And, he's a great center back. I mean, this is a guy who, if he could adjust to the pace, I want to say the pace of the EPL.
Yeah,
I haven't watched him that much. So the eye test I don't have. But as far as he's more of a ball playing center back, right? And so that's kind of when you're getting, okay, are we going to get more Dutch? Yes, we're going to get more Dutch. What does the center back do? Well, he's only 19th percentile in tackles,
which isn't great.
47th percentile in interceptions.
Also not
20th percentile in blocks. But for Bayern Munich, you're not doing a lot of that because
that's a good point.
At Manchester United, you will be. So there's going to be a contrast if a player like De Ligt comes into the back line. He's good at aerials. But progressive carries, 71 percentile. Progressive passes, 90th percentile. Completion rate, 96 percentile. So what are you getting when you look at a De Ligt character? You're looking at somebody who can tick the ball around the back, someone who could work with Onana that can unlock a lot for United on the back line. The question for me is, what does the fee look like? What do the wages look like? And can we get a reasonable deal from Bayern Munich? Is he not rated there anymore? Why does he want to move? I mean, that's really the question for me.
Yeah, I think the coach doesn't rate him, but these are all good questions and the points we should be playing. And the thing is, the profile player that he is, right? He's not like he's not like a Rudiger. Like, Rudiger's pretty good on the ball too, but just like tackles, like you said, like the defensive stuff, he doesn't do as well. But that makes sense with the profile of midfielder that we're going. Ugarte is like, we'll talk about him in a second, sir, because he's the next story. But like, you get 2 ball playing center backs, and then you just have this like destroyer who's literally, this guy is like, he's good at one thing and one thing only, and that is tackles. I mean, he is basically, you'd have him and he would just sit in front of center backs and just break up play, bailout, highlight playing center back, switch. So like he would play next to Martinez. They could both play the ball really well. You'd have this killer in front of him, and that guy would just give the ball to Kobe Mainoo, Mason Mount, Bruno Fernandes, who could pass it very well. So it's interesting, actually. Like the profile makes more sense if you think about signing a new Casemiro who's even more defensively minded than Casemiro was.
So when it comes to De Ligt, he's on $260K a week right now. And that's probably why they want to ship him, is because of the wages. So
and we can't go up on that. Like you could take that, but you don't go like 300.
It's just going to come down to what transfer fee Bayern. So all these big clubs are probably trying to get inflated wages off the books. 2027, that's a lot of value there and a top player. So this is exciting. Like this excites me. This is the direction we should be going if we can get a good deal. Like it all comes down to not just getting fleeced. And you know what? I don't think this deal will happen because Bayern's gonna try to fleece us, and Ineos should say no, and then we should get some random nobody center back play next to Johnny Evans for next year. But sir, you did mention the Uruguayan who plays for PSG. You want to jump into his statistics?
Yeah, I think I want to close up your point, which is like I think every player we sign this summer, you've never, unless you're like the league or you follow Bologna, like you're not. I haven't heard of any of these players, and that's okay. That's kind of the profile player I wanted us to sign. Right, under the radar, because we're not going to be able to afford players in EPL or players like De Ligt that used to play at Juve and play at Bayern. So Manuel Ugarte, 23-year-old Uruguayan midfielder from Montevideo, 6 foot tall. He plays at PSG, and he does one thing and one thing only. He is a destroyer. He is a pure play CDM destroyer. He's like elite tackler. And then he just gives the ball to one of his players who could play a better pass, and that's what he does day in, day out. So the new manager at PSG does not rate him. So this is where we're looking for players who are like out of favor with their current manager who can maybe get like a deal on. And I like this. This excites me because like he will be useful. This will be useful in the Premier League. This will be useful with the center backs we have in-house today. And I think we can get him for a decent value because they're looking to ship him. So we need more dog. This guy's a dog, and we need dogs.
So transfer market has his value at 45 million euros. It's actually down a little bit. I think that's why Manchester United's kind of interested. He is playing for Uruguay at the Copa. If you watch the U.S. men's national team in the next game, he will feature.
That's a good point.
He did feature full 90 minutes against Bolivia, so you get a little scouting report while watching the Copa. And the United States get to watch them on the electric chair trying to make it through the group stage. Bergheffer's sweating. But look, center back, central midfielder, striker.
That's it.
Sir, that's what it's all about here. I love this signing.
Go to the stats.
Whether or not we can – it's about coffees for closers. Can you get the deal done? Can you get good terms? Can you make everybody happy and not break the bank at Manchester United? Now, like you said,
99th percentile in tackles. 99th%. 4 tackles a game?
On the striker front from transfers, Xerxes is still hot, kind of simmering there. I believe AC Milan was also interested. That tells you how he's not that great of a target if we're linked with him and AC Milan. You'd like to see like a Chelsea or a City involved in any player just to kind of confirm that they are going to come good. Maybe less so for Chelsea, but some other big name teams, Xerxes kind of in that top tier Serie A category, which I don't know. I don't think United should be thinking about that, but we are just going to get more Dutch. I think that's the theme. Selling wise, you want to give us the update on the selling rumors for Manchester United?
There has been a lot of smoke. Only really has been smoke on Greenwood. There was like, he was looking at Juve, he was looking at Napoli. I heard Marseille. So we're hearing a lot of I heard every semblance. I heard a loan. I heard a buy, cheapo buy. I heard a swap deal with Juve. So nothing's moved there. No sales have really moved there. I mean, same with Sancho. There's been no movement on Sancho. He's going to come back. So Mason Greenwood and Jadon Sancho are likely to feature in 2 weeks. I think the boys report back in less than 2 weeks. I think it's the 10th or the 11th, and they head on tour. So this is going to be the hardest part of the summer, man. I think we could find value in the market. I think we could find deals of players you haven't heard of really before. But selling Jadon Sancho is going to be a fucking project. And selling Mason Greenwood for the appropriate value, the idea of not selling him for any less than 40 million pounds, 20, are you crazy? Look at the players that are sold and bought in the Premier League that are going for 30 million. That who? So this is a big test for the Ineos crew in their first summer.
Manchester United have told players not involved in the European Championships or Copa America to return to Carrington on July 8th. That would be Jadon Sancho and Mason Greenwood. We will see them at Carrington, short of like an exemption and an imminent deal. This is going to be interesting because nobody's doing deals. There's no big news. I said it.
Chelsea are buying players. That's the only one I've seen.
Yeah, but they're mad. They're absolutely crazy. They don't
I know they buy everybody.
But man, you'd like to get these deals done before they have to report. Rashford will be there, right? Rashford hanging out with Sancho. Is that going to be good for Rashford's
He said
preseason?
sorry. He showed up at least.
No, but I'm saying like,
oh, that's a good point.
Jadon Sancho's bad influence on Rashford. You'd like to get these kind of
I don't think
bad
you even let him
out.
train. I don't even think you let him train with the squad, right? Like, what would you do, sir? Would you let?
I get the deals done.
Yeah.
Before July 8th. Now, obviously, they're not going to get those done. Also, sir, any other selling news we have before we want to jump into some?
I mean, there's been like Lindelof is apparently being watched in Turkey. We're seeing some rumors. AWB, that's one that we have to keep an eye on. I'm not sold that we should sell AWB after paying £50 million for him under Ole when he's useful, man. He's useful. He's resilient. And in a pure play, like playing a team better than you, he's a good guy to have around because we've seen that before. So I don't get that one. I think that like the right back is not a priority. Let's stick with what we got because Jesus Christ, we don't have a left back for next season right now. Like Luke Shaw, you think Luke Shaw is going to show up on the 10th of August for the Community Shield uninjured? Like I would take that bet all day. He's gonna get injured sometime between now and the start of the season, unfortunately, because he can't break that curse.
He'll probably be playing some FIFA if I had
Sancho.
If I had to guess. Jumping into fan questions. All right, sir. Let's see. We just posted this today. We got a few ones. Thank you for everyone who gets us these hot takes on Twitter. If you want to respond to us at USA Red Devils on Twitter, get featured on the podcast. At Mike United Mets, it's the summer when Rashford to PSG rumors show up. They did. I was waiting for that one. They just showed up this week. Great call out, Mike. Personally, I like him to stay, and I think he will have a bounce back season. If there's any true left back behind him, what is a successful 24-25 season for Rashy? What does it look like?
A successful season for Rashford would be the starter for Manchester United on the left wing because right now that position has been taken by Alejandro Garnacho. So like that's the first thing. He's got to win his spot back and push. If he is going to have a good season, he will have pushed Alejandro to the right wing, where he's also very, very effective. He's excellent on both wings and taking his spot as the left winger for Manchester United. And like, he's got to be productive. He's got to score at least 10 goals in the league and hopefully 20 overall. But first thing first, he's got to get his spot back, and that's like bare minimum, right?
Successful season is 25 goals, all comps. I mean, it's the results. I mean, he's on top dollar. I mean, you can't get higher than Marcus Rashford as far as wages now that De Gea has been shamed out of the club by people like Alex.
Still talking about it. It was a year ago. Get over it, bro.
I
tried to put shine on him, and you got mad at me. Like, how dare you? He's mine.
By the way, Wout Weghorst and De Gea will never leave the podcast. They'll just keep going.
They're here. They're here with us in the room right now.
De Gea, if you're listening, we love you here at the pod here. He's just results. It's about goals, how he gets them. I don't care. Center forward, left wing. You just need to see him. Like also the England team at the Euros talking about like the criticism. I feel like Rashford has that same ethos. These young English kids coming up. Obviously, social media is brutal. Like all these takes are horrific, but it's like they only focus on criticism. It's like ignore the noise, focus on your game. Like you're not playing well, that's on you. I mean, like obviously people say horrible things, cross the line, etc. But like you got to focus on your game, right? And that's what it's all about. You get paid the big contract. It comes with big responsibility at the biggest club in the world. This is Manchester United. So I wanted to see him own that responsibility. I think the season when he was scoring all those goals, pointing to his head, I think he figured it out. He figured out the mental part of the game, focusing on his game. And I just want to see Rashford doing that and doing well for United. Like there's no reason we should be selling him. That'd be sad. That'd be a sad day. If you really think about it, people are frustrated with him. Has he acted kind of like a brat? Was last season horrible? Yes. Are we going to feel better if we sell him?
No.
No, we will not. We will feel better if he's wearing the shirt and thriving in Manchester United, which we all want because he's a great kid, and that's what he should be doing. And if he never hits that high again, that will be sad for both him and all United fans.
Sir, I'm looking on the board, can't find it, but respect, sir. I agree. We all want him to succeed. Everyone's rooting for. He's not Jadon Sancho. He's not fucking,
Respect, man. Respect.
You gave me the double whinge, bro. Are you crazy with no AC?
It's summer. We can
double whinge.
we have a little fun.
How dare you? It's true. We all want him to do well. Last year was not good for him, not good for United. So maybe if we're a little better this year, a little better, he'll play a little better. I think his heart's in the right place. He's a good fucking kid. We want him to succeed. He doesn't have. I just focus on your game. I think the same thing with England. They eat their own bro. Like the way the media treats the English national team is diabolical. So it's like they need to fix that. That's a structural, institutional issue. But any footballer, bro, like don't even watch the news. Why would you watch that shit? How could you?
I would honestly think you would need to not be on social media and like have people look at it only send you the positive things. Like you would literally like could not be on it yourself. Like that would be like you would have to be disconnected from everything to survive.
You have to flip phone. Have a flip phone. Like,
dude, socials are no joke. Next tweet here at Man United DYL, Dalit and Ugarte. That's a good start? ? Absolutely. Those two signings could transform us. Up front, we got issues. You got a mod on the right. The greatest bluffer of all time, Anthony, right? That's fine for the right for next year. I'm okay with that.
That's actually okay.
On the left, you got Rashford, you got Garnacho.
That's not bad either.
Then you got Højlund.
He needs help.
He ain't the only number 9 for United. He ain't owning the starting number 9 role. Like you got to earn that. Nobody is given the starting number 9 role at Manchester United. It should be like ruthless competition. We need people to compete with them. And oh, by the way, it ain't Xerxes. So like that, I'm concerned about that. Like you need a number 9 because then
Let's see Xerxes in red playing with Bruno Fernandes behind. Let's just give him a chance, bro. You gotta give him a chance. He's gonna be a Manchester United player.
You thought Weghorst was slow. Like, come on.
He's faster than Weghorst. Anyone's faster than Weghorst. If you think you're faster than Weghorst, a professional athlete,
it'd be like Gapco looked fast at international tournament. Gapco's starting for the Netherlands. Xerxes not starting for the Netherlands.
Oh, that's the indictment. That's the worry.
So like Gapco ain't like. By the way, we were linked to Gapco. He ain't good enough. You saw him at the international tournament, and
We'd use him.
He's not good enough.
We take him.
Sir, I watched in the EFL final. He was horrific, and it's like, and guess what? Xerxes behind that guy.
Well, we're gonna get some dogs,
and that's the problem. Like striker is real concern.
One plays in Liverpool, right? So like, I think Dalit and Ugarte are more what we need. Hard-nosed players. Ugarte especially excites me because he fits the profile of what we've been calling out for. Dalit, I don't want us to get like shined on by these like Hollywood players, and I feel like he's in the Hollywood bucket of just a name you've heard forever because he broke on the scene so young. So I agree. Xerxes might be a bust, but like we never hit 100%. You want to hit like 60%, 70%. If you do that, you're in good shape.
We need dogs.
And those two are dogs. Ugarte especially. He looks like he'd be pals with our boy Martinez, even though Uruguay and Argentina don't always get along.
They do not. At D_Cole 18. We know we're signing a center back, CDM, and striker at a minimum. Looking Dalit. Hopefully he drops his wages, Ugarte and Xerxes. What 2 to 3 more signings would you like to see us bring in? He's saying the targets this summer would be Dalit, Ugarte, Xerxes, and David selling Deadwood. What do you think, sir?
I think that's got to be the priority. It's like if we could get 3, because this is it. It's like how many?
No, but beyond those 3, what would you look to like? I would get another striker.
We need a left back.
Left back.
We really need a left back, whether it's someone. I like Luke Shaw, man, because when he's fit, he's a very good player. But his fitness, we talk about this with Varane. We talk about this with other players like Cavani. It doesn't matter how good you are. If you're only available every other game, Paul Pogba, you're half as effective as you are if you're available every game. So it's like we need players that have durability. So we need a left back. We need a left back because Malacia missed the entire season, and Luke Shaw missed most of the season. And he has one thing, like Malacia might straighten up. We know Shaw will get injured because of his injury record. So I would say you need another striker at a minimum. You could arguably go for 2. You could arguably go for a Xerxes and an old guy just to like take some 10 goals, right? Just to help. You need a killer. You probably need to sell Casemiro for the wages and for a little bit of cash. So get him in, and then you probably need 2 center backs. Right, you probably need 2 because you should be selling Lindelof. I'd keep Maguire. and you need a left back. So there's a lot of work, man, and a lot of selling. So it's like I don't envy those guys' job. They're gonna get into a lot of heat.
I just don't think we're rotating shop enough because you're right. You got to get rid of the Maguire to then get the next center back because you probably should bring in two. You should bring in DeLitt and somebody else. You should be selling Greenwood and then getting another striker after Xerxes.
Right.
I just don't think we're on that next move. I only think these three is basically what we're going to get. And it comes down to the fact like United aren't nimble in the transfer market. Like it just takes a long time, belabored deals. But look, that's it. That's the podcast. Another summer transfer Muppetry /Copa/Euro update. We're enjoying our summer. 4th of July right around the corner. We hope all the American Red Devils have a great 4th of July holiday. Definitely one to celebrate this year as well. Sir, give us our top 10 downloads last 7 days.
Number 1, how you doing? How you doing? Chicago, Illinois, Los Angeles, California, Dublin, Ireland, New York, Melbourne, Australia, Brooklyn, New York, Oslo, Norway, Philadelphia, PA, Charlotte, North Carolina, and last but not least, Houston, Texas. Appreciate all the American Devils listening week in, week out. Couldn't do without you. Summer, hang in there. It's been a long road. Prepare to be disappointed. Hopefully we'll have some fun surprises, but the season is right around the corner. 6 weeks away. Can't wait. Enjoy your 4th of July. It's next week, and we'll talk to you very soon.
Glory, glory, Man United.